Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. I just wanted to give you guys this situation. It's breaking still as we speak. It's still hot and fresh out the kitchen. It's been going on for a little while now, but we had just gotten done with a watch party, watching the body cam footage revolving around the whole suspect involved in the unaliving of Rachel Morin getting arrested. Now we got some breaking news. Massive protests are erupting in downtown Chicago, and we have got to take a look at this. There's a bunch of footage, a bunch of stuff that we got to look at, and this is crazy. This is a day before, by the way, a day before the Democratic National Convention is supposed to be happening. The whole week starts tomorrow. Everything starts tomorrow for the DNC. So this is very, very interesting that this is all happening right now as we speak. Let's get into this whole thing. So do me a favor. All right. And this is all breaking, still breaking as we speak. And it's massive groups of people, massive, representing all kinds of different groups, by the way. It's not just one, it's multiple. I'll explain here in a little bit. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button, please. And thank you. Yes, I'm breaking this story with you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. It means a lot. Come on in. Get in here. Get in here. Get in here. If you don't know about this, come on in. All right. Hopefully, I'm going to get you up to date on what's going on right now. And I guess Chicago was getting ready for this. We'll talk about this for a second. All right. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on those other platforms, crush that follow button on my Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm on all those platforms. Please don't forget to crush that subscribe button here on my main channel. Go over to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Crush that subscribe button over there. Of course, check out my follow me or hit that join button down below. Become a member. That'd be greatly appreciated. Check out my Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. And of course, I got my merch page, pascalmerch.com, open and ready to be looked at for you guys to consume, buy things, and all of that good stuff. Anyway, we got to get into this. I can't be on forever tonight, okay? But I do want to give you guys this update of things that are going on right now as we speak. There are protests of massive quantities of people representing multiple different types of organizations and other movements, all congregating in downtown Chicago right now as we speak, protesting a day before the DNC is supposed to be kicking off. This is some crazy stuff, something I've never seen before. Now, there's been talk of it being, volatile and filled with some type of bad thing. But I'm telling you right now, no. Allegedly, this is all a peaceful protest. So we're going to get into this thing because it's already been happening for a while now, for a little bit, maybe about an hour or so, hour and a half or so. It's been going on for about an hour and a half or 2 hours so far. People are out here in the streets protesting, etc. We're going to look into this. So let's take a look at what we have so far.
Actually, we're hearing now, I got an update from my producer, Michelle, that there are rolling closures on Michigan. And Michelle, could you repeat that one more time? Southbound Illinois to Roosevelt. Southbound Illinois to Roosevelt, rolling closures. So if you're out there, just be aware. And if you're not, this is probably not the place you want to be tonight here in downtown Chicago because of those rolling closures on southbound Michigan. As you can imagine, there's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of traffic on a regular weekend. Certainly now with these protesters out on the streets, certainly more gridlock here in the city of Chicago. And they're all, as we've seen, just a slow crawl, slow march towards Grant Park. We know it's about a mile from where they started at Wacker in Michigan. This vantage point showing you some of that traffic backup as well as some Chicago police officers, squad cars on standby right there too. So as you can imagine, this is going to have a trickle down impact for if you are downtown right now. But this is one thing we will want to stress. This is a peaceful march. This is a peaceful crowd. Peaceful speeches have been going on, chanting and marching right there alongside police officers. Mayor noting that this is not police officers in riot gear. These are police officers, bike patrol. They're on their bikes or they're walking alongside. So as far as the law enforcement side and the protester side, it just seems like everyone's sort of working together as they make their way down. Also, while voicing the issues that are important to these groups here. These groups using this moment right now as we are ahead of the Democratic National Convention to sort of get those opinions and those issues out. But let's get another check-in. We'll do another check-in with Mayor Kawash on the ground. Mayor, what are you hearing over there?
Well, I feel like this image just really tells the story of what we will be expecting this week at the DNC. These people feel like it is the perfect opportunity to really get their message across. You talk about the united front. Some people question, why are they trying to put so many messages together at once? They feel like it's better to be united, sending that message to all of these political leaders who will set the tone for the next 4 years. They feel like this is that chance. We see Chicago police all lined up on the side of the streets here. I want to show you what they look like as you see them on their bike patrols. No riot gear here. So far, every piece of this has been a peaceful protest. While we see speakers who have come up, some locals from Chicago, we've heard people come in from different states across the Midwest, all of them, again, wanting to push the message of abortion access, LGBTQ rights, reproductive rights, and an end to the war in Gaza. So we just passed Michigan and Lake. We are making our way towards Randolph right now. As we get closer to the end of this march, that'll be in Grant Park with everyone trying to come together and really send this message. So the pace has picked up a little bit. It was a stop and go as we got towards these intersections. And now as we approach Randolph right in front of me, we're inching closer to Grant Park. So things, again, remaining peaceful here, echoing chants, all of this continuing to go on here in downtown and absolute gridlock. We have traffic here. If Dartis wants to go ahead and pan his camera, we got gridlock of traffic. It's very slow moving all around this area, as you can imagine. Like you mentioned, the DNC already with the road closures in place, causing a lot of traffic and the excitement over it. And now we have people with their phones outside of their cars trying to catch the images themselves because it is such a sight to see here. People feel like Chicago is on the world stage right now, and that's their chance to tell the world what they would like to see from their Democratic leaders over the next 4 years. So we're continuing to march towards Randolph, and for now, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, that's our Mayor Kawash on the ground. Here's another vantage point from Chopper 7. You can really see that scale of protesters here taking probably about a city block. He mentioned there are hundreds of people out on the streets there alongside hundreds of police officers, not to mention the spectators on the other side of the road. You can see that traffic slowing down just for them to take a look and see what is happening right here. He mentioned it's quite a sight for a lot of these spectators, a lot of people here from out of town. This is also one of our popular tourist areas in downtown Chicago, not to mention one of the busiest streets that we have. And this is another look at that traffic that he was talking about, that absolute gridlock that we're experiencing. Earlier, we heard about rolling closures along Michigan Avenue as well. So you might want to avoid the downtown area if you have plans there at this moment right now, because it is an absolute mess.
So I do want to point this out, okay? Right now, this is a peaceful protest, okay? They got permits to be able to do this. They had this whole thing planned out. This was done in a way where they can come out. They have the right to protest. They have the right for freedom of speech. They have the right to do what they're doing. They're doing it peaceful. They're doing it, and it's organized. This was planned ahead of time. And it's not only because I know some people are, putting in their thoughts about, certain groups and all that. This is not just one group, by the way, guys. It's multiple groups coming together and showing up and putting in their protest and making their voices heard right now. So it's not just one thing. It's not just one movement or one group of people. But you got to remember, this is all done peacefully as so far. Now, if there's some agitators in there, I don't know yet. I have not heard anything, okay? I have not heard anything about that as far as I know. All I know is that right now they're saying that this is a peaceful demonstration, a peaceful protest. They got permits to be able to do this, and so on. So right now, no chaos, peaceful, multiple groups of people. By the way, okay, you got your Free Palestine, you got groups for the LGBTQ plus community, and so on, that are all being represented in this whole protest. So this is a massive protest revolving around many groups of people that really want their voices heard before the DNC. Okay, so what say you when it comes to this? And I've thought about covering the DNC. Just covering a little bit of it. I don't know yet. I haven't made that decision as of yet. Maybe I'll put it in a poll and hear your thoughts about all of this as far as that goes. But at the same time, this is very, very interesting that this is all happening. And again, right now, this is being conducted in a peaceful manner. Wild stuff. Okay. Very, very wild stuff. And I will say this too. A quick reminder, there were protests outside the RNC. There were. Okay. They didn't do it like this. It wasn't like this. It wasn't planned out like this, but there were. Okay. So we'll see what happens. Right. So I'm thinking about it. I'll put a poll. Okay. I'll put a poll up. All right. And we will talk about it. Okay. We will come up with a plan. All right. If that's the decision, but let us continue on. Let's hear what else they got to say. I'm going to probably jump ahead because we're a little bit behind, just so you guys know. Okay. But there are people, like I said, of multiple groups of people stepping forward and making their voices heard, representing their specific group. Yeah. Edgar was a little upset. Yeah. He's a little upset, but yeah. Okay. So let us move on here. Okay. Let me skip forward a little bit and we gonna see. All right. Yeah, it's kind of giving me like a parade more than anything else. You know what I mean? It's like, here are all our groups. Here's what we think. Let our voices be heard. You know what I mean? Now the question remains though. Okay. As much as they're doing this as this demonstration and all that, I'm wondering if this is actually going to have any standing effect on any of the members of the DNC. I'm being real. Now I know that that the left represents a lot of these specific groups and whatnot, but I am still kind of curious if they're really going to hear these voices, okay, and then are they going to speak, okay, about any of this over the next couple days during the DNC? I'm actually very, very curious about that because again, they're making a very big demonstration right now. And as long as it stays peaceful, we will see, right? We will see what happens. But, you look at both sides of the fence, like someone just said the DNC don't care. The RNC don't care either. I mean, if you really think about it, both sides are corrupt. Both sides suck. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. You know what I mean? T, what up, man? It's quite interesting how some Americans are so un-American and are anti-protest when the topic doesn't fit their narrative. Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of demonstrations where people go, oh, how dare you? But then if it's something about for them, okay, if it's something for them, If it barks up their tree, they'll be out there holding up the picket signs and all that stuff. Real talk. It's true, T. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. But you know what I mean? We will see what happens. Like I said, there's a lot of people that feel some type of way, even in the chat, right? There's going to be opposing views. All I ask is everyone to be diplomatic, be adults. If it's going to be a disagreement type of thing, agree to disagree, but please be kind in the chat. That's all I ask. Okay. But as this thing continues to go on, this is very interesting. Okay. Very, very interesting. All right. Because there's different types of demonstrations going on in the streets as we speak. So let's take a look. We're going to keep moving forward and all that here. Okay. So I appreciate you guys being here. Do me a favor. A gang of you guys are in here. So that's really great to see you guys here. I appreciate it. Hit that like button down below. Let's get it towards let's get it to 800 likes. Okay. That's a simple ask. If you appreciate me covering this, let's get it to 900 likes, okay? And don't forget to subscribe, please, and thank you. We cover a lot of things on this channel, all right? We cover a lot of things on this channel, everything from true crime to politics to pop culture and everything in between, all right? We have a lot of fun on this channel, so if you do appreciate it, a lot of great discussions on this channel as well. So if you do appreciate it, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, hit that like button down below. Okay? That'd be greatly appreciated. Let's see what's going on here now. Just skipping up a little bit, guys. I'm going to skip up a little bit more too here. I'm just seeing if he is going to report a little bit more.
They're just taking the picture to the web live. I don't know how long that was last.
Because I know that there's like an interview this reporter does, like, he's boots on the ground out there. I think it's like right about here.
Talk to him. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Check.
There we go. Here it comes.
I like going back to this. Hey, let's introduce it. Man, that's sure. All right, so man. Yeah, so you're gonna ignore this, just look at me. Yeah. Big crowd out here, man. Everything's coming together. Why is it important to do this? Yeah, I think it's really.
Oh wow, that just. Okay. They just cut that out. Well, that's trash. Let's continue on. Oh, definitely not DMC. Oh, my Lord. Come on now. I interviewed him a little while ago. Go check it out. Great interview. I'm going to keep moving up. I'm just catching up to the live. You know what I mean? See what I mean? See what I mean by different types of groups, different type of demonstrations, different type of organizations are coming together and are a part of this whole protest that's going on out here in these streets. Okay, now of course we have a completely separate group than Free Palestine, right? Protesting on the recent decisions that have been made by the Supreme Court when it has to do with the termination of pregnancies. Okay. But there are other groups here together, a part of this whole thing. Okay. Which is pretty crazy. Right. But of course, let me see what else is here. All right. Because I might scoot it back up to the beginning so we can see a little bit more of what happened in the very beginning. Okay. But let me see what's going on. Skipping ahead. Come on. Let's just see what it looks like, what's going on live. Okay, so I'm going to scoot back a little bit and see what they're saying as far as like the breaking news type ish. Okay. Get some reporters reporting. You see what I'm saying? But look at that. I mean, I think Chicago is so beautiful. You know what I mean? Personally, just the landscape of it and just, how it is. But I mean, obviously you see the people starting to congregate in one area slowly but surely, and then it just starts to rapidly get crazy with people. Like right there. But again, one thing I do appreciate is that this was put together. This was organized. They went through the red tape, guys. They went through the red doggone tape to get this whole thing together. Permits, etc. They keep emphasizing that this is a peaceful protest, that they're not out here to try to cause chaos or anything of that sort. But at the same time, just because you get a small group of people together doesn't mean that there isn't going to be some jerk off that's going to try to set things off. Okay, let's be real. Okay, there is still a possibility some jerk is going to go in there and just cause a ruckus just because they can. And I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case, right? That's what I'm hoping it won't be. But right now, this is a planned demonstration. They keep saying it's peaceful. Hopefully it stays that way. But let's hear what this reporter has to say.
The March for Bodies Outside Unjust Laws is marching along Michigan Avenue. If you take a look right here, we're getting a live look from Chopper 7 right now. The coalition, they're protesting for several causes, including reproductive rights, LGBTQ plus rights. They're also calling for an end to the war in Gaza. As you can see there on your screen, there are hundreds of protesters walking off or stepping off of Michigan and Wacker. We saw them just start to march a few seconds ago. We're seeing in the crowd about hundreds of people there. Now we can send things over. Well, we have our ABC 7 reporter, Mayor Kawash, on the ground. But taking a look at this stream right here, we can see those protesters walking down. We've been told that they're going to march about a mile down Michigan Avenue towards Grant Park. Here's another look, or another vantage point from the ground of what's happening right now. Again, this is a group or several different groups there, about hundreds of people there. Also at this protest, hundreds of police officers present there. We saw them lining up also along Michigan Avenue as this group is marching again that mile stretch down towards the Logan statue at Grant Park. Again, as we mentioned, several different groups represented in this group of protesters representing several different causes. Right now, it appears to be a pretty peaceful march that is stepping off here off of Michigan and Wacker. A slow start. We know earlier that they were going to start marching, or they had plans to start marching around 5 o'clock, but only now getting on the ground. So all eyes are focused on this group. This is sort of the first big protest group ahead of the DNC, which is going to kick off here in the city of Chicago in less than 24 hours. So we'll just give you a live look at what we're seeing right now on the ground. You can see that security is pretty tight right there. As we mentioned, hundreds of police officers in attendance, along with hundreds of protesters there on the ground. Those police officers sort of flanking either side of Michigan Avenue, closing off multiple streets as this group makes their way to Grant Park. Again, a group representing multiple different causes, different issues, reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, the end of the war in Gaza, marching down Michigan Avenue. One of several protests that will be going on as the DNC will be taking place here in the city of Chicago. Right now, we're looking at a group where right now it's also just kind of static as the rest of the group starts to march down one of the busiest streets in downtown Chicago, certainly causing a major traffic backup this evening, as we are about 24 hours, or less than 24 hours to the start of the Democratic National Convention here in Chicago. Again, our Mayor Kawash was down on the ground earlier telling us that in the lead up to this group marching, there were several speeches being made, multiple people chanting out there. And as you can see by the different number of flags or different number of banners that are there, as we've been saying, as this march started, it's a coalition of several different groups being represented, all under the March for the Bodies Outside Unjust Laws. They were mobilizing at Wecker in Michigan for quite a few hours, I think a couple hours or less than a couple hours before they kicked off just a few minutes ago, making their way down that mile towards Grant Park at the Logan statue. So we have yet to, we're just keeping an eye on that group right now, but everything appears to be peaceful as they make that slow crawl down Michigan Avenue. As we mentioned, again, hundreds of people in this crowd, hundreds also of police officers there as well, trying to keep an eye on things. One of the first challenges for law enforcement is this protest that's going to be going on. We can see that countdown on our screen going on just less than 24 hours to the start of the Democratic National Convention. All eyes right now on the city of Chicago as the the events will be playing out over the next few days. Right now, just sort of kind of keeping an eye on the group, but everything appears to be peaceful on the ground as what we're seeing. We're getting different vantage points from above, from Chopper 7, from on the ground, from different places in the city of Chicago. We'll be standing by for an update from our reporter, ABC 7's Mayor Kawash, who has been covering this all afternoon. And actually right now, we'll send things over to Mayor. Mayor, what's it looking like on the ground right now?
Yeah, I got you. You got me? Yes. Do you have me? Can they hear me?
We'll get to him in a second. Right now, I think he's getting set up for
Stand by.
Our report. And once we can hear from him, once we can get connected.
Well, I can tell you that this is a massive crowd that we see here, starting a march right down Michigan and Wacker, where we're trying to head towards Grant Park. There you go. As you see the crowd behind me, massive crowd.
Just so you know, this is not the mayor. His name is Mayor. Just so you guys know. This is not the mayor of Chicago, all right? His name is Mayor Kawash, okay? Just so you guys know. I know some people are wondering, this is the mayor? No. His name is Mayor, okay? It's right there. You can see it right here. See my mouse? Boom. It's right there, okay? Just so you guys know. Let's continue on, though. Because when I heard it, too, I was like, wait. Because when I heard it, too, I was like, at first time I heard it, I was like, wait a second. The mayor? The mayor's reporting what? And then, no. His name is Mayor, okay?
Crowds of... You got me?
All right.
What a cluster F.
Right now on the ground, as you can see behind our ABC 7's Mayor Kawash, he mentioned that there are massive crowds, multiple groups, as we've heard, represented in this march of hundreds of people marching down Michigan Avenue, one of the busiest thoroughfares here in the city of Chicago. As we said earlier, too, also with them, hundreds of police officers flanking the protesters on either side of this group. We mentioned they were representing different causes, different issues, and from reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, to the end of the war in Gaza. Again, Mayor Kawash down on the ground, getting a different vantage point than what we're seeing here on Chopper 7 HD. As you can see, different groups here, or that massive group funneling down Michigan Avenue right now. We're told they're making their way towards Grant Park, which is about a mile from where they started at Michigan and Wacker. Another thing of note, the security that is present here. A lot of people keeping an eye on events that are going on downtown Chicago as we kick off the Democratic National Convention in less than 24 hours. We're hoping to get to Mayor Kawash to get an update from him on the ground in a few moments, but just take a look at this right now. You can see just the scale of the crowd that's being represented here right now. And actually, now we'll send things over to Mayor Kawash. We're starting to get an idea of what's it looking like there on the ground. Mayor.
All right, so as you can see here, the crowd has been massive. As you saw from those chopper shots, it really is a massive crowd here. Several different organizations. I want to show you what we're seeing here right on the front line of this march. We are headed towards Grant Park right there. You see the sign there, Free Palestine, Feminists, and LGBTQ+. All of these organizations have been coming together here to send a message on the eve of the DNC. We've seen them all rally together. We heard several different speakers at that rally. It lasted about an hour and 20 minutes, remained peaceful the entire time. We did see several groups all marching together now, and police have maintained their presence, making sure to block off roads through Michigan and Wacker and creating the pathway to Grant Park. And as you see here behind us, people continuing to remain peaceful, march towards, they say, while they agree with a lot of the Democratic policies, they do not appreciate the action that has come from a lot of the talking points that they've heard from Vice President Kamala Harris and other Democratic leaders. So today, they're trying to send that message that they will make that message clear and be a voice for all of these several different organizations. So we're continuing to march our way towards Grant Park. Again, it is remaining peaceful here. They have maintained their presence as the Chicago police, and we're going to keep you updated as this continues to unfold here. Back to you.
All right. That's our ABC7's Mayor Kawash following the protesters who are currently now marching their way towards Grant Park. A few moments ago, kicking off that march from Wacker and Michigan. As we see from Chopper 7, we get a bird's eye view of what's happening right now. If we heard from Mayor's report that this group, right before they marched, were rallying for about an hour and a half, talking about a number of causes, a number of issues important to these multiple groups that are all under the March for the Bodies Outside Unjust Laws. Hundreds of people, as he mentioned, making their way peacefully toward Grant Park. Also with them, hundreds of police officers marching alongside, or rather just sort of flanking them on either side of one of the busiest thoroughfares here in the city of Chicago along Michigan Avenue. That march about a mile towards Grant Park, towards the Logan statue. As we mentioned earlier, too, this is sort of the first challenge for law enforcement. This protest here on Michigan Avenue, this protest is going to be one of several protests that will be going on throughout the DNC, throughout the Democratic National Convention, which is set to kick off in less than 24 hours here in the city of Chicago. City leaders say they have been ready for this. Security around the city has been tight. It's, again, one of many protests, one of several events that are going to be going on throughout the city. But all eyes right now on the city of Chicago, especially this protest here, as it's sort of the first metric to see how things will be going. And it appears right now, as we've heard from our Mayor Kawash, things have been going smoothly. Things have been peaceful in this crowd. From the rally to this march right now, we're taking another live look from the ground. You can see it's a slow march down Michigan Avenue, multiple causes, multiple issues, multiple groups being represented in this crowd of hundreds of people that are marching down Michigan Avenue right now. To bring you guys back up to speed, if you're just tuning in right now, this is a group that started at Wacker in Michigan, rallied at that intersection for about an hour and a half with several speakers chanting, voicing their concerns as we are leading into the Democratic National Convention to get the attention of lawmakers, thousands that will be here in the city of Chicago, if not here already. And it appears that they have stopped for just quite a moment right now, but we know that they are going to be making their way towards Grant Park, where we've heard reports that they will rally there. But as we've heard from our Mayor Kawash right now, that it's just a peaceful rally, a slow march down a busy Michigan Avenue here tonight in the city of Chicago. And we're just kind of keeping an eye on things. And we'll be able to check in with Mayor in just a moment right now, who says he will provide us updates. But from Chopper 7, you can see just how massive that crowd is. And on either side of them,
I think this is, obviously this is very interesting. I mean, I think this is one of the reasons why everybody is flooding to their TVs, flooding to their social medias and whatnot to watch this whole thing transpire, because clearly, let's be real. Maybe some people are waiting for everything to go turn to hell in a handbasket, right? But I'm hoping that this stays peaceful. I'm hoping that this stays together, right? I mean, they did everything they could to make this thing happen. They were very prepared. I mean, even they even said that there was going to be hold on, I'm pausing that really quick. But they even said that they were the police were very prepared, or they were getting geared up so that they can so that they could arrest people that were wanting to do some bad things or cause a ruckus. And I think a lot of this has to do with because of what happened in Pennsylvania, what happened on July 13th with the former president, Donald J. Trump. I think a lot of it, now they're sitting there going like, we have no time to deal to mess with any of the BS. You see what I'm saying? We ain't got time for that. Okay, we got better things to do than to deal with people who are going to be radical, who are going to be trying to do some crazy stuff out here, so on and so forth. So I think that that's one of the main reasons why there is a zero tolerance now. I mean, I think that's one of the other main reasons why there was a permit given to people that were going to do this demonstration and do this protest tonight. You see what I'm saying? Because they said, hey, you come out here and you protesting, your ass is going to go in jail, period, point blank, right? So I do think that's very, very interesting. We're going to come right back to this, I promise, but I do want to share with you guys this video. It's a small video, but I think it's interesting, just showing that they're building a wall. And I know everybody and their mama going to be like, people on the right are going to sit there go, oh, so they build a wall on us, but they can't secure a wall for our country. I already know the jokes are coming, but I want you guys to see this video though, real quick. Oops. Crazy. Oh,
neighborhood, there's been
damn.
like no
Hold on, guys.
communication and very little engagement.
If you look
Let me do that
behind me
again.
over
Sorry
my
about that.
shoulder, you'll notice those fences and snowplows in place. We've actually watched all morning as they have started to bring in more metal fencing, more barricades, and these snowplows have been kind of navigating around those barricades and getting into place around the UC. Take a look at some of this video we got earlier this morning. You can see a lot of cars have been turning around already as they're met with these new closures that have been set in place overnight and early this morning.
I love democracy. Like, I wish I was going to the convention, but for the neighborhood, there's been like no communication and very little engagement of the people who are closest to it. The parking restrictions have changed 3 times in the last week on our block, and no one's like communicated to us that the protest route actually goes right in front of our building.
Ooh, interesting. That's very interesting as well, that they didn't know that all this stuff was going to be passing their building, which, of course, for any person that just wants to get their ass home, is going to be very annoying, that this whole thing is being blocked off or anything of that sort, that these demonstrations are going on right outside they do. That'd be very annoying. I'm going to keep it a buck. I find that very annoying, but you can see that they're, they got things fenced up. They got snow plows. They got garbage trucks. They got all kinds of stuff to block the potential chaos. Okay. But what's interesting is I think a lot of people were doing exactly what Rory is showing in the emojis with the RNC. Because I mean, let's not forget, July 13th, ish went down. Okay. Trump literally got by, maintained livelihood by the skin of his own teeth, y'all. By the skin of his own teeth. Okay. 1 little centimeter, 1 little, nanometer away, tilting his head one way, he would have been a goner, right? But the RNC, there was a lot of people expecting chaos to happen at the RNC. But I think because of what happened to Trump on the 13th, which was leading into the RNC, I think things slowed down because of what had happened, right? Now that has subsided, right? time has gone on and people are still upset. People still want their voices to be heard. So I don't, as much as everyone's sitting here going, oh, I'm going to be sitting at the edge of my seat, eating this popcorn, getting ready for the craziness. I don't know if we're going to see any craziness. Unless, like I said, unless tonight some jerk decides to run amok or cause a problem, break a window, or, Molotov cocktails or something like that. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens, but I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be eating popcorn like everybody, like some people are thinking that, like chaos is about to happen. I don't know if that's going to happen. You know what I mean? And I hope it doesn't. I really hope it doesn't. I hope I'm absolutely 110% right? Carlette, thank you so much. Lots of love to Pascal. Thank you for keeping us informed and knowledgeable. Peace. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hollywood 2000, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate that big time. Let's hear what the rest of this, what they got to say.
And that resident telling us that most of the information he's gotten actually is coming from us or other local news outlets. He says his hopes are that over the next few days, there's more direct communication from area law enforcement or even from the Secret Service. And really his concerns, Mugo Adrina, have been echoed by a lot of drivers and neighbors we've talked to in this area this morning. A lot of frustrated drivers, to say the least. We know security will just continue to get tighter as we approach.
I mean, let's be real. I feel like that's with any event that happens in any neck of the woods. Okay, whether it's DNC or if it's RNC or if it's huge, if it's the Super Bowl or some huge baseball, some huge sporting event, if Chris Brown, Chris Breezy, or Drizzy Drake is in town, I mean, there's always going to be chaos, right? There's always going to be annoying stuff. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens here. But let's hear what they got to say in here.
Yeah, and we continue to see them march very slowly. One thing here is Chicago police has made its presence, and like you mentioned, they are prepared for this. We've seen them on their bikes, and they're not out in riot gear, which some may have thought would kind of inflict some flames and make this a little more tense, but that has not been the case at all. It has been peaceful. People have been able to speak. Again, we saw that rally go on for a little over an hour. We're hearing from pro-Palestine supporters, Jews for Palestine, LGBTQ plus rights, abortion access, reproductive rights. We really have just about everything here. And they felt like it was best to come together as one to open things up for the first official protest on the eve of the DNC. They felt like this was their chance to really send a message with Vice President Kamala Harris in town, with President Biden in town, and all of these Democratic leaders who they say they may support, but they want to see more action from. They feel like there's been a lot of talking points when it comes to abortion and reproductive rights, and even the Israel-Hamas war, but they haven't seen the action to follow those words. So we continue to see the march right down Michigan Avenue behind me. Probably over 1,000 people here. I'm sure you saw from those Chopper 7 shots just how massive this crowd is. We've seen a lot of spectators from people who are just visiting Chicago, spectating on the sidewalks of downtown. The loop here has been at a near gridlock as police secure this area. You see the officers here with their bikes. That's the case for about 1.5 miles at least. We've seen a massive presence all around. Of course, all of the media around here and people taking this in, they feel like this is their chance to send that message. So as you see, continuing to march very slowly, but they are making their way through. Traffic has been sealed off, and the chants continue to echo throughout the loop. So we're going to keep marching with them. I'll send it back to you for now.
All right, thank you. That is our ABC7's Mayor Kawash marching alongside the protesters who are right now making their way down Michigan Avenue. A slow march, as he mentioned, towards Grant Park as they continue to voice one of several concerns. As he mentioned, there are several groups represented, all unifying right now as they make their way down Michigan Avenue. He had mentioned that there are pro-Palestinian groups there, reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, abortion access. There are several groups there represented in this crowd that you're seeing here on Chopper 7, all uniting to be part of this first official protest ahead of the DNC. we know is going to kick off in less than 24 hours here in the city of Chicago. They wanted to use this opportunity, as we heard from Mayor, to really voice all of those concerns under one unified front, as several politicians are here now or are making their way here to the city of Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. They felt that this was their stage, their chance, their opportunity to voice their opinions, to voice their concerns as we are leading into the DNC. Chopper 7, again, giving us a vantage point of that group and just how massive this group is. He described a crowd of hundreds of people on the ground there. And also, as we saw from his shot on the ground, there are also hundreds of law enforcement officers, hundreds of Chicago police officers flanking these protesters on either side of them as they make their way down that mile stretch towards Grant Park. But one thing of note, from the rally that started this protest at Michigan and Wacker and this march, he's mentioned that this is a very peaceful group. This is a very, this group here just, when they were speaking earlier, everything just seems to be sort of, as we mentioned, and we're saying it multiple times, a peaceful organization or a coalition of organizations gathering now, marching down Michigan Avenue. This protest also one of several that's set to take place here in the city of Chicago during the DNC in that week ahead, but one that a lot of city officials have been keeping an eye on. We've said earlier that this was sort of the first challenge for law enforcement, this protest here on Michigan Avenue, but city leaders have reassured residents that they have been ready. And now we're going to take a different look at the protest. So here now we can see a different vantage point of the path that these protesters will be taking. You can see there are several police squad cars there as well, but also traffic is going to be backed up. We heard from Mayor Kawash on the ground that it's just absolute gridlock in downtown Chicago, as you can imagine, with Michigan Avenue being one of the major thoroughfares of downtown Chicago. If it wasn't already busy because of the DNC, this is sort of definitely adding to it. But this gives you a different look of what is going on right now in downtown Chicago. Like we said, police squad cars, traffic at a standstill. Several roads are blocked. Here is Chopper 7 giving us that vantage point of the scale of the crowd, along with the crowd, the protesters and spectators that are keeping an eye on this or watching what's going on right now. Mayor mentioned it is a slow crawl down Michigan Avenue as they're making their way towards the Logan statue at Grant Park. But this group, again, if you're just tuning in, it's the March for Bodies Outside Unjust Laws. This protest or group of protesters kicking off their march from Wacker in Michigan were right before they started marching, a little bit around 6:30. They rallied for close to about an hour and a half, doing several speeches, chanting, representing multiple different causes, different issues, reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, the end of the war in Gaza. These groups deciding to come together under one unified umbrella to voice their concerns, to voice their causes, while politicians are here in the city ahead of the Democratic National Convention set to start in less than 24 hours here in the city. Now, this group here from our vantage point on the ground right now appears to have stopped. But as Mayor mentioned, it is sort of a stop and go. They've been marching, stopping, marching, stopping. And as we've heard from his live shot or when he was down there. And actually, we're hearing now, I got an update from my producer, Michelle, that there are rolling closures on Michigan. And Michelle, could you repeat that one more time? Southbound Illinois to Roosevelt. Southbound Illinois to Roosevelt, rolling closure. So if you're out there, just be aware. And if you're not, this is probably not the place you want to be today.
This is probably taking us back to where we were in the very beginning, but we'll play a little bit more.
All of them, again, wanting to push the message of abortion access, LGBTQ rights, reproductive rights, and an end to the war in Gaza. So we just passed Michigan and Lake. We are making our way towards Randolph right now. As we get closer to the end of this march, that'll be in Grant Park with everyone trying to come together and really send this message. So the pace has picked up a little bit. It was a stop and go as we got towards these intersections. And now as we approach Randolph right in front of me, we're inching closer to Grant Park. So things, again, remaining peaceful here, echoing chants all of this continuing to go on here in downtown and absolute gridlock. We have traffic here. If Dartis wants to go ahead and pan his camera, we got gridlock of traffic. It's very slow moving all around this area, as you can imagine. Like you mentioned, the DNC already with the road closures in place, causing a lot of traffic and the excitement over it. And now we have people with their phones outside of their cars trying to catch the images themselves because it is such a sight to see here. People feel like Chicago is on the world stage right now, and that's their chance to tell the world what they would like to see from their Democratic leaders over the next 4 years. So we're continuing to march towards Randolph, and for now, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, that's our Mayor Kawash on the ground. Here's another vantage point from Chopper 7. You can really see that scale.
Wow.
Protesters here taking up probably about a city block. He mentioned there are hundreds of people out on the streets there alongside hundreds of police officers, not to mention the spectators on the other side of the road. You can see that traffic slowing down just for them to take a look and see what is happening right here. He mentioned it's quite a sight for a lot of these spectators, a lot of people here from out of town. This is also one of our popular tourist areas in downtown Chicago, not to mention one of the busiest streets that we have. And this is another look at that traffic that he was talking about, that absolute gridlock that we're experiencing. Earlier, we heard about rolling closures along Michigan Avenue as well. So you might want to avoid the downtown area if you have plans there at this moment right now, because it is an absolute mess of traffic as they've shut down roads, not just for this protest, but for the DNC as well. But here, again, we're getting another look at the group. As Mayor mentioned, they're sort of picking up the pace. They started at Wacker in Michigan, now making their way to Grant Park, where we're hearing that they will be rallying over by the Logan statue. And he stressed that this group is a very peaceful group, peaceful from law enforcement, peaceful from the protesters here. This protest group also a coalition of different organizations representing multiple causes. Just to give you another recap: reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, the end of the war in Gaza, all of them trying to make sure that the politicians that are here for the Democratic National Convention hear their voices, hear what their concerns are. This is their chance as Chicago takes center stage as it kicks off the Democratic National Convention in less than 24 hours. The city says it has been prepared for this. This, again, is one of several protests that will be going on throughout the week. The city reassuring residents, reassuring everybody that they have been prepared for this, and that security around the city already was tight. And as they've been preparing for these protesters, also prepping for that as well. Another thing to note on the security line, we've heard from our Chuck Gowdy, from Mayor Kawash, that we can see here these protesters lining up along here, prepared for anything. Also, not in riot gear, as Mayor mentioned. They're sort of walking alongside, again, a very peaceful march with the protesters, in tandem, walking with them as they make their way down. Here's another vantage point, a ground shot of what's going on. One of the groups here, pro-Palestinian groups, one of several groups that are represented in this protest as they make their way down. And so we're going to be keeping a close eye on this right now.
So now here it is, guys. Obviously, we all want this to turn out to be a peaceful demonstration, right? And they said that there's going to be other protests. This is not the only one. This is one of many that's going to happen over the course of this week, because the DNC is happening this whole week. So it'll be very interesting to see if this continues to be peaceful. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. I don't know. This is going to be very interesting, right? But Kraken Lackin just said the sign says no Kamala and no Trump. Who does they want? Well, I didn't see any signs like that, but that would be interesting. Like I said, that'll be I'm quite curious myself. What is it? What does they want? Right. What does they want then? Okay. Kennedy, which we got to pick somebody. Okay. At the end of the day, we got to pick somebody. Okay. Whether you like the one choice or regardless if you don't like any of the choices, those are the choices we got, unfortunately. Okay. That's the unfortunate situation. Okay. And we're just going to have to see how things transpire. But again, any person out here that's hoping for chaos, man, something wrong with you. Okay? Because all we want is for any person that's out there protesting, all we want to see is peaceful protests. We don't need to see any chaos, any mucky muck, any of that stuff. We don't need to muddy up the water. We need to be as best as we can, because let's not forget, this is also representing the DNC. This is also representing the Democrats as well. So if there's chaos and there's, let's say, riots and violence in the streets while the DNC is happening, that is a full reflection, and that bounces off onto to the DNC and onto the Democrat Party. That's terrible. We don't want that. Okay, we don't want to see that. Like, we don't want to see that on the Republican side either. Okay, we don't want to see chaos. Okay, we want to see a peaceful protest. Everyone get together. Everybody do their thing. Let them say their stuff. Hope that the powers that be, the Vice President Harris and Vice President and her running mate, Walz, look at that and go, oh yeah, we should talk about that. We should look into that, so on and so forth, and bring that up into our speeches and say that we listen, we hear you guys. We're going to do what we can to help make things change. We heard from you guys. Maybe they don't agree on certain groups. Okay, I get that. But at the same time, there's other things. Right? There's other groups that are out there representing their cause and want their voices heard. It'd be really nice to see some of that go into the DNC, right? Not the protests, not the chaos, but at least them saying, we hear you and we are going to talk about these things and bring these topics up and see if we can bring these into policies for our run for president and vice president. I'd like to see that, right? Because that's the thing. More and more, I'm seeing a lot of everybody in the chats being like, hey, when the people talk, the powers that be don't listen. Well, I'd love to see a change in that, where the people actually are being heard by the future leaders of this country, right? And of this world. We hear you. We're going to see what we can do about that. I hear you out there talking about that. We're going to sit down in the war room and we're going to duke it out. And we're going to try to figure out a policy that's going to work so that we can get closer to that utopia, that utopian world where we all get along, right? And there are no problems, right? And I know that's an impossible thing to have happen, but at the same time, at least show to the people that you're listening. That's what we need, and that's what we want, regardless of what side you're on. And I also got to say this too, and this is totally understandable. You can't please everybody. You can't, okay? You do one thing, the one side of the world gets angry about that. You try to change it, the other side gets angry about it. You're just going to be bouncing back and forth like a tennis ball. It's insane. But if there's a way to say, I hear you, we are trying to see what we can do about that, and actually start implementing motions towards trying to make that change, that'll make a lot of people happy. In hopes, of course, that will be something that actually solidifies something, right? A policy or a new bill, something of that sort, right? But like I said, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You can't please everybody, right? There's a lot, okay? What I'm saying is not as easier said than done type of thing. It's not as easy to do and accomplish, but at the same time, you got a lot of people out here that are protesting. And by the way, and let me just say this too, and this is just something I saw. Now, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, and that's totally fine. But when the RNC was happening, there were protests against Trump, right? Outside in the streets. I didn't see any protests from people who actually vote for him upset about something. Let me repeat that again. Meaning, a lot of the people out here that are out here and like that we're looking at right now, a lot of them will most likely be voting for Kamala Walls or Harris Walls, right? I mean, I'm, and this is just me assuming, none of them that I see so far are anti-Kamala, anti-Harrison and Walls. But at the RNC, it was like the same groups of people over there demonstrating and all that too. It's just something I find very interesting. It's just a very interesting observation. Okay. Now, that's just something I see. I'm like I said, I'm very interested as, like, you know, because everybody else that's very supportive of Trump, they're out there, they're just going, yeah, Trump, bring him back, right? I have not seen groups that are disgruntled on the Republican side for Trump, against Trump. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Maybe it doesn't. Because this is just me shooting from the hip. This is something I've noticed, right? So it's just something to think about, something to look at. And I'm curious about that, right? And I'm not sitting here saying that all Republicans are just satisfied by Trump's work, okay? Not at all. But I have yet to see them out there in the streets protesting about something. But at the same time, there's a lot of unjust that's going on in the world for the people. Okay? And there's a lot of things that are wrong that need to be fixed. And those voices need to be heard. And maybe those voices are going to both conventions because the voices for those groups need to be heard, right? But it is something interesting. It is something very, very interesting, you know, that I've just seen and I've just noticed when it comes to these demonstrations and all that. But regardless if they're at the Trump rallies or at the RNCs or the DNCs, it doesn't matter. What matters is that their voices are being heard, and they're being heard in a peaceful manner. If it's done out here in some crazy chaos, everyone's going to look at the chaos rather than looking at what they're trying to say. And I hope, I hope that there is some sort of change here soon, but I also hope that this stays as peaceful as it bloody can be. Okay. Lemon Bud, thank you so much for the super chat. So wild, didn't see this at the RNC. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't see this there. There were demonstrations for sure. Okay. But it wasn't, you see what I'm saying? It's just something I noticed. That's all. Doesn't mean anything good or bad. It's just an observation. It's just an observation. That's all. It's just an observation, baby. All right. Beautiful Messy Ball, thank you so much for being a member for the past 2 months because they are paid. Well, you know, that's what everybody says. I don't know if I believe that kind of hype. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay. We can agree to disagree on that. I really do think that these are groups of people that feel like they're not getting what they need. They're not getting their voice heard, and they're trying to get their voices heard. They want some changes, so on and so forth. Okay, beautiful Messy Ball. Here we go. Trump people are hardworking people with actual jobs. They can't make. I did not write this. Okay, I'm just reading a super chat, guys. All right, Trump people are hardworking because with hardworking people with actual jobs, they can't take the time to take to the streets. These people are paid actors. The cans doesn't matter. The cans doesn't matter. But I get what the first part of what you're saying here. Okay. I appreciate the super chat. Now I think there's a lot of hardworking people on both sides of the fence. I think it's unfair to automatically just say, oh, the Republicans, the right people, are hardworking people, but everybody who's on the left is not. I think is an unjust and an unfair thing and an unfair assessment to put out there. But as far as it being But for it to be, paid actors type of thing, I think that is also something that has not been proven. I feel like that's just another rumor that just gets out here. And like I said, I'd like to see the Carfax on that, the Carfax on that before anything else. Okay. But I think it's unfair to automatically say, oh, just one side of the spectrum, they're so hardworking, but the other side isn't. There's plenty of hardworking Democrats out here. There are plenty of hardworking people out here on both sides of the spectrum, of the political spectrum. In fact, there's a lot of lazy people on the left too, and there's a lot of lazy people on the right as well. So I feel like that is not the fairest statement to make out here for a large group of people. Just like I said before, not every Democrat is one way. Not every Republican is one way. Not every white person, Asian person, black person, Hispanic person is the exact same way. We are not a monolith. Okay. There are plenty of gay Republicans out there, and there are plenty of straight Democrats out there too. You see what I'm saying? So I just think it's unfair. And that's the problem that we have out here, where it turns into a whole thing of we just get stuck in these categories. And we shouldn't be stuck in categories, guys. We shouldn't. We are all human, right? We're 3, 4, 6-dimensional people, right? We all have our weird idiosyncratic things about ourselves, and they're not all the same, right? I know some people that will vote Republican one term, or one election, and then vote Democrat the other. It just is what it is. It's like, I like his policies, I like his attitude, right? Or I don't like his policies or his attitude, so I like them a little bit more, so I'm voting. You see what I'm saying? I think that's the thing. We need to start dismantling. Someone just evolved niche just said it. We need to start dismantling these labels. It's unfair. It's unfair. It's unfair. Okay? So we will see what happens here. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we go and we come into this with, and it continues to be peaceful. Let's be real. This is one night. Apparently, there's going to be other nights of protests. I hope they all remain peaceful. But if they are covering it, if they are talking about it, trust and believe we will be talking about it. We will talk about it. Trust, we will. Okay. And, we will see what happens from here. And here it is. Let me just say this really quick, because I'm not here to offend or upset anybody or anything of that sort. I appreciate everybody's opinions. Okay. You're entitled to your opinion, but you send it to me, I'm going to talk about it. Okay. With all due respect, we all are here. Multiple people from many, many corners of the world, really, and many, many corners of the political spectrum that are all coming together to talk in this group. And I appreciate it. I absolutely, absolutely do. Right. So I think that it's fair, okay, to keep an open mind. All right. And to be respectful. All right. Because we're all hardworking people out here. We're all doing everything we can to live a good life, right? And be happy. Okay. But I do appreciate the question or the statement and all that. I just don't agree with it. Okay. Respectfully. Lemon Bud, thank you so much. It's the sadness of politics. We are just human, but people just put us into a category because we may or may not agree. Yeah. I mean, that's very true. And it's frustrating because we do live in a time where as soon as you say something negative towards Trump, they suddenly unsubscribe to you. Okay. And I'm talking about real time in real life, IRL. They'll sit there and go, I don't like you anymore. I liked your attitude. I liked how you were. But now when we get into politics and we talk about how you feel about Trump, suddenly I canceled. I already deleted your phone number in my phone type thing. You see what I'm saying? And that's frustrating, right? That's frustrating. And I think it's absolutely wrong. All right. We're all entitled to follow and appreciate or not appreciate certain things. We all want different things in our lives. It's not all the same stuff, right? We all have different needs. We're not all the same people. Okay. So yes, I agree with that 110%. And that's the thing. It's frustrating because we do live in the world where it is. You are either one or the other. You can't be in between. You can't hop back and forth. You can't sit there and go, okay, I like his policies or the way he does this or talks about this, but I also like her stuff and how she does this. No, 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 no. Suddenly it's like, no, bro, you got to pick one side, man. You can't appreciate both. The hell is wrong with you? And I get it. At the end of the day, when it comes to voting, you have to make up your decision right then and there. Absolutely. I agree, right? But outside of that, whoever you vote for does not make you who you are. But some people take it to a whole other level, right? It's the MAGA hats. It's the Trump shirts. It's the, you know what I mean? It's a whole look. It's a brand, right? We've talked about this. It is what it is. Okay. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? Beautiful. Messy ball. Thank you so much. Not saying Dems or those on left don't have jobs or that these people don't have jobs. I'm talking about those people protesting and many are paid. Okay. I mean, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Thank you so much for the clarity. As far as them being paid, like I said, I've heard that rumor, but I've never heard anything of that being true. Just saying, and I'm sure I'm going to get a slew of emails showing me proof of these people getting paid and whatever. Okay. But at the same time, these people are out here protesting and they want their voices heard for a specific reason. Who's paying them? I don't know. I already know you guys are all going to be putting out your thoughts and I know it's going to be like Soros. But at the same time, it's all rumor. It's rumor. I have yet to see anything showing proof of these people getting paid. It's like saying Sandy Hook, that happened and it's they're paid actors. I just think that there's people out here that actually are moved and want to do something about this, and want their voices heard about something that they want to have changed. Doesn't mean that I have to agree with it. This is their American right to speak out, right? But we'll see. If there's proof out there, it'll come out. Southern-ish, thank you so much. Hey, highest in the room. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hate to see such discord in the chat. Listen, just be nice and respectful. Listening on both sides is key. MLK said peaceful protests are for the unheard people. No matter the election results, DC can't take away our love for each other. You know what? Yes. All day long. Okay? All day long. Okay? All day long. Absolutely. I agree 110%. Thank you so much for that. Okay? So, yeah. So we will see here how this whole thing transpires, okay? Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know some people are like, oh, you say that now, wake the freak up. Chill, baby. It's all good. It's okay. It's really okay. It's really okay. All right. Like I said, the world's going to keep on spinning and the problems are still going to be presenting themselves. Real talk. Now it's just a matter of how we handle ourselves when it comes to that whole situation, when it comes to those things, right? But like I said, I'm interested to see what happens here over the next couple days. The DNC is actually going to be happening this a whole week. I'm going to end this poll here as well. And you guys, 78% of you guys said yes. So I'll try to cover as much as I can with it because I mean, there's going to be it's a long event. Okay, it is a very, very long event. So we will see what happens here. Okay. But like I said, let's hope that they stay peaceful. Let's hope that everything stays together. And I'm hoping that everyone, even everybody in the, in the chat and watching from elsewhere and all that, stays respectful and stays peaceful as well. Okay. There it is. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I covered the RNC. Actually, I didn't cover the RNC. The only thing I covered was when Trump went up to speak, because that was the first time he spoke after being shot at. So I did that, right? And I showed like his first appearance showing up to the RNC and all that stuff. So what will most likely is going to happen, I will most likely do the same thing, right? When she comes up and does her speech, I also want to hear Walls as well. I want to hear what both of them have to say. If something huge happens over the course of the next couple days, like some highlights type of thing, we'll cover the highlights. But I'm not going to sit there and watch the whole DNC doggone thing. Nah, I'll be asleep. I will be asleep, okay? Because that stuff is boring to me, okay? But when she goes up and speaks, we'll watch it. We'll definitely watch it, right? When Walls goes up and speaks, we'll definitely watch that as well, right? And if there's any big highlight moments, we will talk about that and watch that as well. That's what I mean by like covering it, to be sprinkled into my shows over the course of the week. You know what I mean? Yeah, her Amber Rose's RNC was crazy. That was crazy. Oh, that was crazy indeed. You know what I mean? But like I said, when everything goes down, if there's anything that big goes down, happens, we will talk about it for sure. I'm still keeping my eyes open with this protest that's going on downtown. If anything, and if things get lit up, I will be back live again. Okay. But for right now, it looks like this is where it's at for right now. I mean, literally, there's not a whole lot going on. Hold on, I'm just pulling this up so you guys can see it. The sun has gone down. It is nighttime now. I mean, it's peaceful. And I'm happy as hell about that. Okay. I'm very, very happy that this has been peaceful. And I hope the rest of the week stays exactly like that. Okay. Southern-ish. Yes. Thank you so much for ordering a t-shirt. Okay. I appreciate that. Yes, guys, go and check out the pascalmerch.com. Please and thank you. Check that stuff out. All right. I appreciate that. Okay. But guys, we are still waiting to see if there's anything else that happens. If anything else happens, we'll talk about it right here on the Pascal Show. But that is it. That is the show. I appreciate you guys for being here. It really does mean a lot. Okay. We're still watching. I'm still keeping an eye on this, but at the same time, things are still they're just walking and protesting. Okay. But like I said, if anything else, okay. If anything else pops off, trust and believe, we will talk about it. Okay. Trust and believe, we will talk about it. Like I said, I'm going to keep my eye on this. So make sure that notification bell is set to all. So whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. All right. And this week is going to be a big, big week. A lot of things going on this week. All right. So again, thank you so much for being here, spending some time with me and watching the news with me tonight. We got more stories and more conversations to have tomorrow. So be on the lookout. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are on those other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button, okay? Facebook, all the way down to TikTok. I'm on all those platforms. Please and thank you. All right. Don't forget to subscribe here on this main channel. Go to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Crush that subscribe button over there. That'd be greatly appreciated. Okay. That would be dope. Do not forget, if you want to support the channel, hit that join button down below, become a member, like a lot of you guys did become earlier today and throughout the day. I appreciate that. All right. And if you want to support the channel even more, check out Patreon, patreon.com/thepascalshow. Or you can go to my merch page. Let me show this to you guys. All right. Go to my merch page. Whoops, wrong one. Go to my merch page, pascalmerch.com. We got some new t-shirts. Inquisitive Mother Lover, okay, in the purple-ish pink, okay, with black lettering, or just straight black lettering and white lettering. They're both in black and white t-shirts. And we also got the secret sauce is you. And of course, we also do have a t-shirt that says Pascal 2024, okay, like kind of like one of those voting political t-shirts. Those are all available on the website right now as we speak. Go check it out. Put one on your body. It'll be nice and comfortable for you. I promise you that. Okay? Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. All right? Love you guys, all of you guys. Real talk. I appreciate every single last one of y'all. You guys are incredible. Have a great rest of your night. If anything's popping off, I'll let you guys know. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We'll talk soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.